stuff.
Yeah. Hello and welcome to Two Chicks Tell All. It's your girl Tay Tay here.
And Cece.
So, yeah, we're just going to do a little Mother's Day special since Mother's Day is coming up. So, it's kind of an important event for all you mothers out there.
That's right.
And to celebrate all the wonderful things that you guys do and continue to do for us.
Yep. You're amazing creatures, and I give you credit. I am not a mom, so I can't really relate on the sense of knowing how that is, but and probably would never have children, and I'm okay with that. I mean, I think sometimes like God sees things, and it's funny. Maybe the younger I was, I would have been more tolerable, but I know the older I got, I surely was like, I'd have done knock that kid out. You know what I mean? Like if I'm in like in a situation where some kid's whining and being all bratty and everything, I'm just like, I don't know if I could have had the patience to deal with something like that. And I think about my mom, like when I was growing up, after she had me, she kind of quit working, and I have a brother who's 2 years older than I am. So she would have us, and then they had good friends that had a son like the day after my brother was born, and she went back to work. And so my mom kept him. And then at another point, like maybe 4 or 5 years later, the neighbor had a little girl, and then she went back to work. And so my mom was hauling her around. So my mom literally only had 2 children, but she pretty much raised and had a hand in raising 2 other kids.
I was going to say, that's what it seems like.
Yeah, when we were growing up. And I mean, so she
You know what they say, it takes a village to raise a child.
Right, yeah, and she had to wrangle them up. And what was so funny is my mom had dark hair, like black hair more or less.
Right.
And my dad was like brown haired. Well, my brother and I came out these blonde hair, blue eyed kids. My mom and them both had brown eyes. And the other 2 that she was hauling around both had dark hair, and so people would always assume like those were actually her kids, and she would be like, no, unfortunately those are not my children, these are my kids, kind of thing. So It was pretty funny.
That's
but
funny.
Yeah, but I give her credit for all the years she did do what she did. And then even throughout my whole life, I lost her in 2016, so I don't have her around anymore. But she, I do want to tell people that if you have your mama around, love her while you got her, because there's nothing like losing her. And it's like a grief that is unlike any other grief you'll ever experience. And you never always say that your life is never the same. Like you learn to just adjust to living without your mother, and it's these things that, special bonds you had with them that you'll never have again with anybody else. And so it really is rough. And it was so funny because, living at the beach, I always say I go out on the beach, and that's when I feel closer to God and my mama, kind of thing. But it was funny because I had a thought the other day, and I'm no writer by any means, but it's almost like I felt like if anything I could write about, it would be losing your mom. Like, and I would almost want to entitle this book, So Your Mom Died, and your mom is dead, or something to that effect, because it's so, it needs to be direct, because let me tell you, it's like no other feeling. And you hear things. And I remember at my mom's funeral, I was really surprised because so many people did show up for her. And I think that's another testament to like what an amazing woman she was. It's like the amount of people that showed up. And I remember just standing there looking at my brother at one point, because people were coming in when you're receiving the friends and stuff, and everybody's coming in and giving their condolences and stuff. And I just looked at my brother and I was like, when is this line going to ever stop? Because, it just gets to a point. And there for the longest time, it's almost like this feeling like you just think she's on vacation. Like at any given time when I would be back at the house, it would just be like this feeling of thinking she's okay. Maybe she's going to walk in that door, maybe she's going to walk in that door. And the reality of it is I really did not. And some of this is stuff I've never shared with anybody, but for the longest time, really accept the fact that she was actually gone. And I couldn't even really say those words.
Yeah, I feel like that is something that is probably hard to
it's like
accept.
The reality of it is just like, and for the longest time, there was never that thought like, okay, I can accept this. It was like, I still, and people tell you a lot of things and all that, but it really does suck, and even when you have the opportunity, like we were in the hospital with her for 2 days while she kind of went downhill, and she wasn't really alert. But they always say make sure you talk to them. You say things because you don't know what they can hear and not hear or whatever.
Right.
And I still to this day will question things like, did I say all the things I really wanted to say? Did I tell her all the things I really wanted to tell her? Because when it happens and you're close to your mother, like I was close to my mom, I just, I think it's almost like you go through this block out phase where it's like the whole planning of everything and all that. It's just like it just doesn't feel real, I guess you could say. So, I look back on those days and still question things like that, did I, should I, would I, did I, kind of thing. So bottom line of all that story is definitely make sure you love up on your mamas and you being with your mamas. If you have the opportunity to, if you don't, obviously make a phone call. We're going to get into some stats here a little bit later about like that being actually a pretty big thing on the list is, definitely make that phone call and tell your mom how much she means to you and that you love her and, she's a good mom. And that's important too,
Right.
Make sure you tell them they're a good mom, because like I said, I knew my mom was awesome and amazing, but it was like after she passed, I really said, that lady was like Superwoman. Like there was nothing she could
that's
not.
What I was gonna say. Like I feel like mothers are.
She did everything and anything. Yeah, there was nothing that woman could not do. I mean, she went up against school boards when there were things going on in the school I was going to that they wanted to shut down. She fought the school board. We lived on this little dead end street and she wanted to annex into the city of Columbia. So lo and behold, she went around and did her delegating and she fought the city to have that street annexed into the city and won. And, so it's like if she put her mind to something, it was going to be done,
They have the power to take care of children, keep a house in order, cook dinner,
right,
and do all of that in a 24-hour span. So I think they are incredible creatures.
Oh yeah,
because I know that I couldn't do that. But I'm hoping to become a mom eventually. So I still got a couple years yet before my biological clock ticks. So
well, and you're never really too,
yeah,
because you never know the situation you'd be brought into. Maybe it might not be in the sense you're a mother to having your own child, but you could always get in a situation where you had stepkids or something like that.
Right.
Be an influence to, a child as that role too.
Right. So we're going to get into a little bit of a history of Mother's Day. Let's just say hi to some people first. Hi, Zach. Hi, Chris. That's who's watching right now. Two guys. Two guys are listening to Two Chicks Tell All.
About Mom's Day. Listen to this. This is important stuff.
Yes. Remember. So we're going to get into a little bit of background information and like the origin of Mother's Day. So it arose in the 1900s as a result of the efforts of Anna Jarvis, who's the daughter of Anne Reeves Jarvis. So that's kind of interesting. It got started by two people. So following her mother's death in 1905, Anna Jarvis conceived of Mother's Day as a way of honoring the sacrifices mothers made for their children.
Oh, and that's wild that it came into play after she had died. Like it wasn't something that came about when her mom was still living. So
right.
Interesting.
So, and just another, like I guess another little bit of info. I just have some like random facts I kind of figured out. But Woodrow Wilson signed Mother's Day into law in 1914. So that's just a little bit of history about when Mother's Day became official. Anna Reeves Jarvis used the carnation to symbol different things. So a red carnation meant that the mother is living, while the white carnation means that she's passed, which this was big in churches.
Right, yeah. I was going to say, my dad's a little Methodist church, and they always do that. They do it on Mother's Day and Father's Day, and they'll give out to the people, is your mother still alive or is she deceased or whatever, and give them accordingly. So, yeah, that's big in churches.
I grew up Catholic, and I don't remember us doing anything like that, but I will have to ask my parents to see if they know. But I know that from my personal memory, I don't recall us doing anything like that. So Mother's Day is the third most attended church service, which I can definitely agree with that. I remember there being times where church was like super crowded on Mother's Day.
Oh, yeah.
Like I remember my uncles wouldn't go to church except for like holidays. And I know that Mother's Day was one of the holidays that like they would roll up to church for, you know, to kind of make my grandma happy and stuff like that. Otherwise, I don't know.
That and Easter they pack them in too.
Easter and Christmas. Yeah, Easter and Christmas. Yeah.
I did go to one service one time, and it was like on one of those holidays. I don't remember which one, but the preacher was funny because he kind of called people out. You know, he was like, it's not church isn't just about showing up on special occasions. So then I felt guilty. So then I was like, oh, okay. I was thinking I was doing good showing up for at least,
I don't know.
That day.
Like
he was like calling people out in the church.
I don't know. As I've gotten older, I've kind of just like developed my personal relationship with God. Oh, so it's kind of. So I feel like, church is important, and it's important to go and like, celebrate what you want to celebrate and worship what you want to worship. But to me, it's like, I feel like I have a very strong relationship with God. So with it's God. All good.
Yeah. I mean, I truly believe that too.
Yeah. So it's a holiday that isn't always on the same date. It's always the second Sunday in May though.
Yeah.
So that was a little piece of information, which I believe it is this Sunday, which I looked that up earlier, actually. Yeah, so I know that it's this Sunday.
Get your mom
so if you haven't gotten your mother anything, or, there are different situations where, an aunt or a stepmom or a grandma has raised, a child like the mother figure. So, make sure you are celebrating anybody in your life that has, been a mother to you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So Chris is back in the hospital. So let's keep Chris in our prayers.
Uh-oh.
I'll have to get a hold of you later and see what's going on, Chris, behind the scenes here. But thank you for stopping by though. We appreciate it. Okay. Sorry.
So yeah, I have a couple of things here about Mom's Day that we kind of dive into. So the average age for first-time moms in the U.S. is 26 years old. And yeah, obviously, most people younger better get that family going, or whatever.
I feel like it's more common nowadays to see like women in their 30s start.
Right, yeah. Like even older too, which is kind of surprising that that's, to me, a low number.
And they always say that age affects that kind of stuff, but it honestly doesn't, because there can be like a number of things that can affect like, a child and stuff like that. Like,
right.
Age isn't necessarily like
the
big thing that can affect that.
Yeah, for sure.
So don't listen to what anybody has to say about that.
I know, right. Yeah. Be the good mom.
Yes.
All right. So, getting into like some money figures here, which these are kind of high. So it says that in the U.S., people spent $35.7 billion on Mother's Day.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
I can't even wrap my head around that.
That's like, a lot.
But I guess if that's in the world, if that's like a worldly figure, that's actually pretty decent.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. So that's not too bad.
Yeah. I'm sure we have our chunk of million in there.
Oh, I'm sure we do.
Right. But so it was like $4 billion more than last year, which was reported at like $31.7 billion. So that's still pretty up there.
Yeah. I wonder why it's more this year. Are people just like spending more money? Like more people, remembering to get Mother's Day gifts.
Yeah, more moms out there. It could be a probably. I was gonna say that should be something to do with the fact you are like women are having babies every day, so I'm sure there's more moms following the next year than there was the year before. So this is another crazy number I can't believe, but it said that consumers spend like $274.02 for Mom's Day.
Listen, I'm a broke girly. I can't be spending that kind of money.
I feel like that's a lot of money.
Luckily, my mom, she just appreciates, anything that I do.
Right. Yeah. And I mean,
so that's why, I heavily appreciate that, because I'm a broke girl.
Right. Yeah. I was telling Tete, I think the most I might have spent on my mom at one point might have been $100. I don't really know,
Yeah.
And of course, my dad would always give me the task of, because he really didn't shop. So he would always, give me money, usually not that much, but, some money to go and get her something too from him, so kind of having to buy too for him. But he finally did get good about, like, when I moved out and stuff and didn't live in the house, of getting her stuff and her cards and stuff like that.
Right.
So, and then he would always feel proud when you would get her like a really good card. Oh yeah, look at that card I got her. That was so perfect. And I'm like, see, Dad?
Or it's like, your mom would read it and she'd be like all happy and stuff, and your dad would be all happy, and you'd be sitting there like, I picked it up.
I know, right? Exactly. Yeah, Mom, that was me. She would. There were actually that's funny, because there would be an occasion or two where it would be one, and she would be like, "You had to pick that card out." So yeah, she would recognize, definitely. But like I said, once I was gone and out of there, then he was kind of on his own there. It's like, you got to do it, Dad.
Right.
So that number also was kind of an increase too from last year, where again it was less, not by much. It was like $28. So again, if you had
these prices, could be more this year due to inflation, also.
Right? Oh, for sure.
Because I'm sure I don't know if you've noticed that there is a jump in price in literally everything.
Yes, totally.
So,
totally.
Like getting flowers like shipped, because my stepmom lives in Pennsylvania, so I very much celebrate her as much as a mom as my regular mom,
right?
But it's like, if I want to send her flowers, have you looked at like the websites to send flowers?
I can't imagine.
It's crazy. That's why I just end up getting her like a nice pair of earrings or something.
Oh yeah. Well, in the market too, like on stuff, because I actually helped out a florist when I lived in Columbia on special occasions like that, like Valentine's Day and Mother's Day. And I would go in there for a couple days and help them out, like serve customers coming in or whatever, wanting flowers or help. It's just insane how many flowers go through florists on those 2 days. And they literally, which luckily they had a big enough spot and space, but they would have these tables set up with the zip codes like on the table. So once an arrangement was made up, then I would go put the arrangement on the table. And then they would be making arrangements too throughout the day to put in the case. So when people, and obviously it's funny though, people that wait till the last minute coming in wanting delivered and stuff, and they're like, no, we done shut delivery off. And it's like, you can get what's in that case and walk out with it and pay. And so, then it would be funny, because someone would be like, what do you think? And I'm thinking, dude, it's not the person I'm picking out the flowers for. You need to figure it out yourself. But yeah, so I can tell the markup on flowers is insane, because
it is, especially to get like nice flowers.
Like a dozen roses was like $90. The last time I helped out there, which was probably a good 4 or 5 years ago, and the dozen was up to something like $90, and then a $10 delivery fee. So you're talking $100 on flowers. Crazy.
And then you probably have to tip the driver and all that. So
yeah, well, the delivery fee, they had to pop a $10 delivery fee on that. Which, you think about that, that's just a lot of money. All right, so the top spenders in the category H range, though, which I think is kind of funny, is the between 35 to 44. They're likely to spend the most, topping out at like $382.
I feel like at that point in your life, you're more like well established. So
hopefully
that might explain that one.
Yeah, really.
Because I know I'm not quite at that 35 mark yet, and I'm not quite well established.
Yeah. So well, shoot, I feel like I am, and I damn sure wouldn't be spending that much money anyway. I mean, my mom would probably be like, "Why'd you spend that much?" If it was something
that's what my mom would say too, though.
Yeah, crazy. So they anticipate fewer people plan to shop online this year,
Which I contribute that to COVID not being as like rampant.
Right, yeah.
As it is. It's more controlled now. So I feel like people are feeling more safe to like go out
and actually, shop.
Whereas I think in 2020, from what I read, that was like the highest year for like online shopping.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Which that explains a lot. We were living in tough times.
The world did shut down.
It did.
God, that was some crazy stuff. I still remember that initial. Like, I'll never forget, I heard like on the news when it had broke out like over in China and everything, and it was so bad over there, and I was thinking to myself, I'm going to be honest. I was like, that shit's going to hit us. Like it'll get here. Like it will definitely get here. And I worked at a law firm at the time. And so going into work and everything, and I was telling them, and they were like, it's not going to get here. And then like within a month it was here. And it was just crazy. I mean,
and I was just hoping that it was just going to last a couple months and then
right,
like
yeah,
be done. And I think
right.
that's what a lot of people were anticipating.
Exactly. And then the longer it drug out, and they were saying, "Oh, this long for a vaccine and all that," it did get scary. I felt like I almost had a mental breakdown at one point because
I had a couple.
I was having to still work and going to the office and stuff, and people were getting a little irate about it, and wanting the attorneys to come down the car and sign the documents and stuff. And it's like, we're all at risk here, and you had to wear, we were in the city and they passed an ordinance, so you had to wear a mask in there. But and then we kept the buyers and the sellers separate and stuff. But I'm talking having to sanitize down everything and all that. It was a mess.
Well,
anyway.
I was
to get on that little.
I was working a full-time job at that point, and the full-time job that I was working was in the school system.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll say that. And we had shut down, and I had gotten so stir crazy just sitting at home not doing anything.
Right.
That I was like, I just want to get back to work.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if I got to wear a mask all day. Like, I just need to be out of like this house.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting a retail job. So, but I had a couple mental breakdowns. So
yeah, it was crazy.
I feel like my anxiety was definitely like at sky high during those times.
Yeah.
Which I have bad anxiety as it is, but I feel like it was at its peak for being like the worst at that point.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Just because there was so much uncertainty. I was watching way too much of the news.
That was the thing too. I was
checking my temperature a couple times a day, girl. If I coughed, I was checking my temperature.
Right. You almost couldn't pull away from it. It was kind of like the whole like when 9/11 happened and you didn't want to watch, but you did, kind of thing. It was like, and then what got me was,
I know this isn't Mother's Day,
no,
but it's okay.
We'll wrap this up in a second. But the whole, like when they kept showing on the whole, and it stayed on the screen forever and ever, but the whole death toll, and it would keep showing like in the United States and then in the world or whatever, the whole, and it would just be like every day you'd see these massive numbers jump up, and that was some scary stuff. I was like, I even said to myself, they can really just stop showing that. Like, it's important.
Yeah, I feel like they put more like fear into us during that time. I feel like we were just all scared and full of fear during that time.
Right, yeah.
I don't even know if it was necessarily anxiety most of the time. I think it was just fear.
I know, right? Yeah, it was a very scary.
With what they were putting out on the news and all the different things.
Oh yeah, very scary feeling.
Which it took 2 years for it to finally start to level out.
Right, yeah.
So,
all right, so thank God we're past that,
right?
All right, so some other statistics as far as like where people shop and what they'll, kind of go towards as far as purchase and stuff. It says 30% will purchase from like specialty stores. 24 from local small businesses, which that's good. You always
support your small businesses.
Your small business, yeah,
love it.
Yep. 23 at discount stores, which hey,
Marshalls, TJ Maxx. Listen, you can
you want to get a good deal. I get it.
Nice stuff. You can find nice stuff at discount.
I'm telling you, that's where I usually get
good as new.
Christmas shop. It's like those are the stores I'm gonna hit. Sorry, just
very much good as new.
Right? Yeah, it's the same stuff. I mean, why would you not want to pay a little bit?
Even
less
some
for
Goodwill, even some of the Goodwill finds are nice too.
Right? Yeah.
Like don't.
Sometimes you can find stuff in there with still tags on it.
Yeah, don't sleep on Goodwill. Like it's very much like a good place to be.
Oh yeah. We, as a matter of fact, I think one year for Christmas with my little girls group, we did something like that where it's like the gift you bought had to come from a consignment store or a Goodwill store.
That would be a good idea.
You know what I mean? So that was kind of cool.
That is cool.
All right, so 13% will shop at specialty clothing stores. So those are probably like those high dollar stores, I would imagine, with name brands. With like
maybe like
stuff.
Victoria's Secret. Would that be like a special? I feel like that's a specialty, and probably like Bath and Body.
The guys would be like, "Oh, you're gonna get my mom."
Listen,
some lingerie.
I want to say something. This is off topic as well, but I never understood Victoria's Secret because isn't Victoria's Secret supposed to be like priding themselves in like bras and stuff like that?
Right, yeah.
So you would think you would think that like a bigger girl could like go in there and find some stuff to make her feel sexy.
Right.
Listen, I cannot fit into any of those bras. Like, if you're anywhere past like a B cup, you might as well forget like fitting into any bras there. And I never understood that. like, does anybody, else have that issue where you just have a hard time understanding, Victoria's Secret's motive here? Because I feel like they would be a store that would kind of like target like curvy, voluptuous women.
Right,
I feel
yeah.
like that would be like the place to be. Like, let's go get some bras that, make us feel sexy on the inside, but it's like you can't find anything that fits. And then like some of the material is just like not very durable too.
Right, yeah. Oh, definitely their cotton underwear has changed.
Yeah.
It's not near as good as it used to
But
be.
I'm not gonna lie, I do like whenever they have their semi-annual sale.
Their sales rock, yeah.
And they have the underwear on sale, and you can get like a bunch of them, or you can get them like at $3 a pair.
Yeah.
And then they have like the body sprays. Like, I love their body sprays; they're so good. But anyway, that was off topic again. Go ahead.
But no, you're right. That probably explains that store.
Yeah.
Okay, so getting into some of the other stuff that like people do or whatever. Well, and some of the things they spend it on.
Yeah.
But greeting cards is always a top seller for Mother's Day.
Of course.
It says 152
Hallmark
million
probably
Mother's Day
makes
cards
bank
are sent
during
out.
that
So
time.
yeah, that's a lot of cards. 152 million. Yeah, as a matter of fact, there is that little Hallmark store. There wasn't one in Columbia, but there's one not too
But you
far
know
from
who
us.
has the best cards, and I will say it, and I don't care what people say about it, is Dollar Tree.
Oh yeah, you can get good
I feel
cards
like
there.
they have the best cards.
Yeah.
Like, I found some really nice cards.
Because cards
at Dollar
can
Tree.
be dang expensive. Like I think the last card I bought was something like $6 or something insane.
That's ridiculous.
More. Like, might have been the one for my dad's birthday because that's the last card I would have bought. But
right.
So yeah, and greeting cards kind of tops up there with flowers as being the most popular gift for Mother's Day.
Which I could see that.
Yeah.
Because mothers appreciate well thought out greeting cards.
Oh yeah, and flowers are always
and
nice.
flowers.
I mean,
always.
I'm gonna be honest. A girl always loved to get flowers. I don't think there's anything a girl would say, I don't want to get those. It's nice to get them.
It is nice.
They're they cheer you up. So, all right. So 60% plan to go do the whole dinner brunch outing. So that's real. Obviously popular with getting your mom out. That way, obviously, she's not having to cook it, you're not having to cook it.
Right. My mom's on vacation this year, so
yeah,
she won't even be here for Mother's Day, but I'm sure that we will do something for her whenever they get back.
Oh yeah, she'll be making up.
Yeah, probably go out to dinner.
Oh yeah. So restaurant kind of meals and stuff like that is up there with like the next highest as far as spending goes.
Yeah.
Between the flowers and all that. 43.29 per dollars per household is what's spent on restaurants. So, and that equated to like 5.6 billion of the high dollar one.
I want to know where they're getting these facts, because a family can't go out and eat for $43.
I know that does seem pretty low.
I mean, maybe if it's just like a family of two.
Right, yeah.
I could see
how many are they considering.
You could possibly eat out, or like a family with like a baby, you could probably eat out. Eat out for that price, but anymore, like going out to eat like is expensive. So I don't know where they're getting these figures. I kind of would like to know.
Yeah, up there. And then jewelry rates in after that at like 7.8 billion, and it's $59.90 per household, which again seems low. And electronics falls into the least common thing, which makes sense. I mean, what mom would, I don't know.
Yeah, my mom is like the least technologically capable person that I know. Like, she'll ask me how to do like a simple thing on her phone.
Right, yeah.
So I don't foresee her getting like a tablet or a new laptop. She would probably be confused as heck.
Oh yeah.
Love you, Mom. No offense to you.
Right. Yeah.
She's probably out there listening.
Yeah.
If she has Wi-Fi, she's probably out there listening right now.
Yep. Hey, Mom. All right. So in 2022, flowers rounded up in that 3 billion, which was actually up 14% from a couple of years ago. And the average cost of a bouquet, which I think this is off too, is $65. But I guess it would depend on what you're getting, because you probably could get a bouquet for $65
if you go to the grocery store.
If you go to Walmart right now, they have roses a dozen for $9.97 a dozen.
And there are actually some nice flowers. Yeah. Don't sleep on those.
Yeah. Well, and I'll tell you, I'll kind of jump in with that little story. So last year was the first year I've been away from like my home that I moved away from in Columbia. And my mom passed away in 2016, but it was kind of like the first year I wasn't like around my dad or my, other family members and stuff. And so I didn't really want to be sad. And I was like, what could I do to kind of do something maybe just to honor like my mom? So I had seen at Walmart, they had roses for $9.97 a dozen. And I was like, that's really a good price on roses, some pretty roses.
That is a good price.
I have been going and having brunch, or I guess brunch more or less, at this little Eggs Up Grill over on not too far from me,
Yeah, it's really good.
And
it's a chain.
Yeah, really good food. So I asked the manager there that was working, because I'd been in there a good bit, and they kind of got to know me by face a little bit. And so I asked her, I said, look, if I come in here on Mother's Day, can I just hand out like maybe 50 roses to moms?
Right.
And she goes, oh my God, yeah. She goes, oh, well, she asked me if I was going to charge them. I said, no. I just want to hand them out. I want to give them out kind of in honor of my mom, since, my mom's not here. And, I'm kind of like in a new place. And so she was like, absolutely. So it was so funny. I told her I'd be there like 11, and I was kind of dragging that morning. So it was a little bit later when I got there, because I did like buy the little water tubes and stuff off Amazon. So I didn't want to just like hand them one. I know it was going to die in a matter of a minute. So I wanted to be able to keep it in a little bit of water. So I put them in the tubes and everything. And so when I showed up with that basket, and it was pretty, it turned out they looked beautiful in the basket I had them in. And they were like, oh, we're so glad to see you. We're so excited. Blah, blah, blah. And it was really sweet, because I always walked up to the moms, people. I was like, are you a mom? And ask them and all. And they were just they were like, that's just the sweetest thing. And I had actually a picture of my mom and I like clipped on the side of the basket, so you could kind of see that picture. So yeah, so I'm actually going to do that again this year. So that's why I got to go get my roses at Walmart, because they're the cheapest ones and they're some pretty roses. But
they are pretty.
I will be handing out. So I'll tell y'all how that goes at our next cast. I'll give you a little update on the handing out of the roses again. So another kind of fact that's up there is Mother's Day is the most popular day to place phone calls across the world, which obviously,
I can see that.
Yeah, a lot of people probably don't have their moms right there by them. Or even if you do, I'd hope you would still call your mom. So,
or at least see her or something like that.
But that, does make sense that a lot of people are reaching out on that phone line and calling their moms up. And then it also ranked up as the third highest selling holiday for flowers and plants. So probably, I'm sure Valentine's Day is the first for the flowers up there in that.
Oh yeah,
list,
for sure.
So, but yeah, and so some interesting. There's a lot of gift ideas floating around out there, and obviously things.
I have those.
Yeah, Tay-Tay's got some of those, and some of the ones. There's just a couple I had because I saw this other day and thought it was super dang cool. Is you take one of those like floral blocks, that you put water in, so that they put arrangements in them, and you take like a bottle of wine, and this was like the bigger bottle of wine, it wasn't a small bottle, and you wet down the block, and then stick the top of the wine bottle down into that foam block, down in there really tight, and then you flip it back up, make sure the water's all drained out of it, it's saturated.
Right.
And then you get a bouquet of flowers and just start cutting the flowers down and filling it up into the block. And then it fills it up, and it literally looks like you're getting like this bottle of wine with flowers in it. It's really cool. It's really cute. I was like, oh my God, that's so cute. So yeah, so Tay-Tay's got some other gift ideas here.
So I found a list of like 77 ideas, but I basically narrowed it down to like the first 10 that I saw. So the first one on the list is a portable instant photo printer, which I thought that's kind of cool, Yeah,
because when I realized, and this was in the sense when I was having to do my dad's party too.
Yeah.
But is you really don't print a lot of your pictures anymore. Like everybody takes pictures on your phone all the dang time, left and right. You got photos. But if you sit there and really think about what was the last picture you actually printed and probably framed, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I have pictures all over my condo. Like I love just like seeing everybody I love.
I know, around. Yeah. I have my little wall of them, but I could always add some more. I need to get some more frames.
Which they also said that this is a good idea for all the new grandmas out there. So if we have any mothers who have just become grandmothers, good idea for them. an instant photo printer. They could print out, pictures automatically of their new little pride and joy, of a, grandchild. So number 2, I think my mom could benefit from this, and I think a lot of people could benefit from this one, is a totally practical password book.
Yeah, right. Okay.
I am the worst for trying to remember my passwords for anything.
Right.
Like anytime I have to log into any of my streaming apps, you might as well forget it. I have to reset it like every time that I have to log in. So a password book. I feel like that is a good gift.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Very practical. I like that idea. So number 3 is an azalea outdoor tree, which the one that they have pictured here, it's like a magenta color and it's like really pretty. But I'm sure that they have it in other colors as well. Oh, yeah.
They have, as a matter of fact, for my dad's party, because I use flowers for centerpieces.
Probably at a nursery near you.
I actually picked up these cute little ones from Publix, of all places.
Yeah.
And they were these little azaleas that were, the petals on them were white with like these kind of pink stripes in it. They were like, had the striped petal. They were the cutest little things. They were still kind of teeny. So I got him 2 of those, and he's planted those. He said they were doing really good. But yeah, those are nice bushes.
All right, and then a rechargeable hand warmer is number 4 on the list.
If you're living obviously somewhere where you're really going to need that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like whenever I go up to Pennsylvania in the winter, that might be handy.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think where I'm at in South Carolina, not very practical.
We'll need the hand chiller.
But, that could, this is a universal list. It could be for anybody.
And our temperature today was like almost 90-something degrees, and tomorrow's going to be 70-something, like a 20-something degree difference.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So number 5 on the list, I guess they've come out with a new, like service type of thing, which this is my first time hearing about this, but they developed something called Snappy, which is like a gift sending service. So what you do is you pick the person you're shopping for and the budget you want to stick to. Then after that, you can select from a bunch of different items, and the site will send the recipient all the options to look at via email. And then they get to select which one they want delivered, which I feel like
that's kind of a cool idea.
It's a cool idea, but it kind of I feel like Mother's Day, there's a certain element of surprise to it.
Right.
And I feel like that kind of totally knocks that element out of there. But, I guess if you have a picky person that you're shopping for,
right,
like that could be a good option. So
right, yeah, for sure. If the mother you could never please.
So
here you go.
It's snappygifts.com. No, we don't endorse it. No, we don't get paid by them or anything like that. But I mean, you can send us free stuff and whatnot. We would enjoy that.
Right.
We'll take all that.
Really. We'll give you honest reviews about stuff.
Yeah. So snappygifts.com, number 5 on the list. Number 6 on the list is a birth month flower heart necklace for those that like jewelry, which I feel like my mom would probably like something like that because she does like jewelry. And that'd be kind of cool to have.
Yeah. And jewelry's up there too. You like with it. They have a lot of pretty stuff out there now too. So
number 7 is something that I would want too. It's an Ember temperature control smart mug. So basically, like it's a temperature control, so it'll keep like your beverage hot.
Good deal.
Which I think, hey, they're onto something. I feel like that's a good deal for like the new moms and like the mommies out there because you're always, from what I hear, these moms are always so busy like taking care of the kids and doing this and that they don't ever get to just like have a cup of hot coffee. Well, with this, you could go have yourself a hot cup of coffee.
Right, yeah.
So I feel like, dads, get on it. I feel like this is a good practical gift for like the mother and wife in your life.
Yeah.
Nap earrings, number 8. So I didn't know what this actually meant until I read it. So it's an earring that has a flat back. So if you take a nap, like you don't hurt yourself is pretty much what the purpose of that is.
I need a back like that. I got
I
have one on take out, and I'm thinking.
I do a lot of the just like flat earring things just because they're easier to work with. So that actually went viral on TikTok. So that's kind of cool.
Nice.
So for the mothers who like to read out there, a book nook.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
And number 10 on the list is another one for our jewelry lovers. It's a Mia Bella Italian rosary charm bracelet. So I feel like that's a good idea too.
Yeah, and then there's one of those bracelets that are really popular now too that you buy the charms for, kind of to add
Pandora.
Yeah, the Pandora. Like
those are really nice.
Those are popular
actually
with a lot of women. So
they've been popular, I think, for a couple years, to be honest.
So yeah, if you got your mama that's got one of those, you can always get an extra charm for her. And there was one other thing that this has been advertised on TV, and I think they address it more to like this guy gets information from his dad, but it's this company that like they send to a person like these questions, and it's basically questions about like more or less some of the things that have happened in their life and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then they take it like at the end of the year and they kind of make it into a book.
Oh, that's kind of
cool.
And
I thought that was really neat. I should have looked up the name of the company before I mentioned it so I could tell you what it is, but you could probably Google it and find it. But yeah, it's basically like they send that person these questions and they fill it out and answer these questions, and then over the course of a year after collecting all these, and they kind of put it into this book. But I think it asks like stuff about like going back to that person's history, like maybe when they were born or whatever. But I just think it was cool. I remember when I was really young, there was this book company out there, and I'm pretty sure it still exists, and I still have these in my cedar chest, mind you, or in a bin now. It's probably not the chest, right. But where you could, this publishing company would print these little books up, these little cute childhood books, and they would use the names of like your friends, like it would have your name in it, and then names of like some of your other friends, and it was like these stories and adventures that you would go on, and it would name them out, and those were like really cool. I was always really excited when I got one of those. And I might have had, I don't know, 6 or 8 of those books, but yeah, that's kind of neat. So but yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of good things out there. I think just the main thing is like recognizing your mom, whether it's by flowers or, a card or a visit or a phone call or, anything, I mean, mothers
take her out for coffee.
Yeah. Dinner, whatever. I mean, they just, the appreciation that you show to them is what's important, and the fact that you're recognizing that they are like these awesome creatures. Because again, like I said, if you don't have yours, then when that time comes and yours departs, you will know what I'm telling you and some of the things I've said and how true it is. It's just something you never kind of get over. So love them while they're here, for sure.
That's for sure. So I think, is that about all we have?
I think so. That was our special for tonight.
That was our little Mother's Day special, because we do like to cover the different holidays, or at least I think we do. I think we do a pretty good job of covering the holidays.
Yeah.
So yeah, as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you have not. And if you have any good ideas for us or a crazy story you want to tell, or if you just want to write us words of appreciation about how much you love us, send it to I cannot talk. Send it to 2chicstellall@gmail.com. So that's just like what's on the screen. It's spelled exactly like that. 2chicstellall@gmail.com. We love to hear from you. Yeah. And I think next week it's just going to be another random topic.
I know, we'll figure it out.
Because we like to do these random topics.
Right.
But I don't know. There's been some different like true crime that I wouldn't mind like diving into again. Because I think, we've taken a little break from that.
Oh, speaking of that, I need to try to look up, because I had the TV on mute in my living room, and I was walking through.
Yeah.
And I saw like this caption about Alex Murdaugh saying that the fall that the housekeeper had was not an accident. So I guess something more has come out of that. So yeah.
Well, yeah, you could do some research on that.
Like,
and then
we did that cast on that basic whole back of that story for that whole thing, which is just crazy if you've never really dove into anything about it. It's interesting. But
yeah, if you're gonna cover that, then I might find like a true crime to do.
See what's kind of progressed from this other lawsuit now. What's updated since then.
But yeah, I think that's about all. So it's your girl Tay Tay signing off.
And CC.
And we'll talk to y'all later.
Peace out.
Peace out.